A very happy Sunday to you, or whenever you might happen to see this video. But I wanted to tell you that you have a divine plan. I know that's a title that I would never use until now because I know that you have this divine plan. And so, but I'm doing this video today because I know many people won't watch it, especially if I use a title like that. But this is more for the members of my program, anyone who's on my mailing list, and probably my friends and family, because see, I was also got another message today that went out yesterday that said I might, you might reveal your authentic self. That's the thing that most of us have difficulty with, and I certainly did. But I don't want you to have that because I know that you have a divine plan and it's needed in our world now, and I'm going to explain that to you. But let me show you this message because I want you to find it. I just found it. I'm saying this because it came through last night. I was moved to put it up last night. It went out today. And that happens a lot, and I'm going to talk about it because we have to understand we have different levels of consciousness that we can access. And when you start to do that, you begin to understand your life and the world a bit more. But that is a process, and it's one I've been doing for a whole lot of years. But I want you to understand how brilliant you are, why you're in the world now, which is why I'm doing this today. And I'm kind of happy for this accident because that's how it feels sometimes in your life or in our world. And I will tell you, nothing is happening accidentally in your life or in our world. We just figure it out later. That's in our individual lives and also in our society and consciousness, collective consciousness. That's what we're all doing. So this is the message that is there today, and I'm going to show you a couple of other things because I really want you to have this. And it is this. You might unveil your authentic self today. That is an ongoing journey of your physical life experience. But there are also times in your life and world when your choices are more consequential, and today is one. We have been guiding you through this restructuring, and the message we provided on this date when an energetic shift began will aid you today. Please take the time to decipher, understand, and absorb the message. It will make your life easier. January 5th, 2008. There are no accidents in your life experience. When you deem any event in your life as a mistake, you may quickly lose the opportunity you gave yourself to experience. Experience is what you desire. Instead of labeling it a mistake, look for the new direction you want to take, for everything is continually unfolding perfectly. Gratitude, placed there instead of judgment, will bring you awareness that had previously been covered. Your vision of where you are truly going will ultimately be more apparent. Wilhelm. And I had no memory of that message from 2008, and that's what I'm going to talk about because I have downloaded an encyclopedia, let's say, and I don't remember it, and that came up again yesterday. But I want you to understand that is you as well. You have something within you that's your path, your plan, and it unfolds, and then you start to get it, and then you start to own yourself. You become confident, and you start to manifest abundance and all sorts of things because now you're not blocking the energy. I've blocked the energy so much in my life, so I do understand it, and I also know that you don't have to. So then the other thing that happened last night, I happened to pick up my phone and I looked at, I just going back to old messages because I knew January 5th I would find more. There's an alignment in the universe that we begin to understand, and I understand yours because you were born at a perfect time, and I was given a message on your birthday in 2012, so I can tell you who you are. No, I can tell you what you're up to in this lifetime. That I can do. Didn't know I could do that. And then when I was led to all of this last night that I want to give you today, because I need you to know how important and valuable you are, because that's the energy that you're going to now start putting into our world, which will make a great difference. Nothing in the world is happening accidentally. It's all that division that we felt inside ourselves because we couldn't own who we were. That's all that happens. But the one that came up that I'm going to show you now, which will be a little gift for you because it also led me to a video. And it said, in 2012, we told you how to save yourself and the world. See, I had received that message on that date, but it was 3 years ago. And I knew it was true, but owning it and telling you or having you believe it was the other thing, because see, that belief is so vital in our lives, and it's hard for us to get there. And I didn't believe it either. I'm just saying that. You will not believe what you can do until you do it. That's why you have that thing in front of you. That's why you have the doubt, so that you can overcome it. And then you start to understand how brilliant you are. And these things I can say because that's what my life has led me to. And in this video, I'm going to leave the video at the end of this one because I want you to see it. There's a channeling session from 3 years ago. Everything is explained. All of my ancient wisdom is talked about. Everything came through. I had no memory of it, but now you will understand it, and anyone who knows me will understand it, even my family, because I kept everything hidden. This is why I was the reluctant mystic for so many years. But what I know is that you can achieve what you want in your life, and you can become magnificent, because that is why you were born. But now this message I would like to show you because it'll give you a couple of things to work with, and it also talks about what this work is, the work that Wilhelm has given all of us. I didn't do this. I received the information from Wilhelm. Yes, I connected to a higher source, however you think of it, but me accepting that this information came through was challenging. It is challenging for you to accept how great you could become, because you're moving through your resistance. You're moving through your blockages that have been there. Who knows how long, but they're there. But I will tell you, when you move through them, you can accomplish anything and you can heal. That I know because I've done it. And this is why I have to talk about it. And it's hard sometimes because I'm this introverted person. Let me hide out a bit more, and that's why I'm being called out all the time. Because what I care about more is you. And when I discovered that I had all of this, that was probably the most shocking. It's like, oh, what am I going to do? How can I help more people? How can I get it to them? How can I cause them to understand? You'll hear that in the video as well. But let me show you this one. Actually, I'm going to take you here first. This was last year on January 5th. Hiding from yourself is more uncomfortable. Many of you do that in various ways. Still, one might have been your use of other substances that you erroneously thought would give you greater peace, only to discover the authentic you is the only ultimate peace you experience. It is a journey, and self-judgment does not aid you. The following message will, however. And then we go back to 2020. This is again about alignment that we discover, and you have it, and it's within you. Okay? You are continually becoming more, and why you use drugs. We know the title is provocative, and it took Roger a while to broach the subject. All of this will be for the benefit of everyone. Yesterday, we continued our documentary discovery. This time, it was Galileo. Thinking of him should cause you to think of vision or seeing more. While studying Galileo's life, Roger was reminded of the control your religious bodies exert over the masses. You each carry what could be thought of as generational bias. Your ancient civilizations understood the value of the use of such mind-altering drugs, but that wisdom gained was curtailed as a means of controlling the population. Surprisingly, more of you have not come to this conclusion. You experience your life through perceptions you have formed. Some of those perceptions are created out of fear, and you begin to believe the fear is your reality. Do not worry, this will make sense. then you live in a limited dimension, so to speak, of your thinking. Now, when you ingest, in whatever manner, a mind altering substance, you avail yourself of what appears to you to be a higher level of consciousness. It is indeed that, but you don't need the drug to accomplish this. Some of you have difficulty understanding your intention in what you are doing. We will continue this discussion, but leave you with this thought. Coffee is a drug. I had no memory of that message either, and that's what I'm going to talk about again, because you have things within you that start to come out. And they could be coming out now because our world is moving through a big transition. When we move through energetic changes in our world, we each are affected in different ways that we sometimes don't understand. But what it's doing is bringing up all the stuff you want to get rid of. That's all the lower vibrational things that have held you back in your life and held the world back. And so that's why you are here, to move through it so that you can live a magnificent life. And I have one more for you, because this is the thing that I had trouble believing, just like you may not have believed your dream, but you have one, it's within you, and you're meant to live it, and then you'll have this really wonderful life. And now this is the message that will help you so much, and I will also leave the recording of the channeling session that was held, and you will understand so much more. In 2012, we told you how to save yourself and your world. We knew you would be at this juncture in your journey, so we provided you with some aids to help you understand and ease your way. The journey is uniquely yours, but your success will create the world you want. We provided these messages in our work, Your Life Operating Instructions. The particular excerpts we are providing now are the ones you requested. You have always had guidance along the way, but now you are much more open and receptive. It was all in the timing. Where you sit in your journey now has been uncomfortable, but you also wanted that experience to be prepared for this one. Your evolution has always been underway, but your conscious awareness is increasing. Even that experience can cause anxiety, but we were ahead of you again. These passages will help. We pulled the information we provided on blame, for you will have much work to do with that, as will your countries and leaders. Please keep in mind that you and your world are evolving by resolving these challenges. You are witnessing the results of this in your world this very day, and you wonder how we could have known that. You each hold levels of disbelief that halt your evolvement. But where you are beginning is with you. Our goal is for you to experience your magnificence and importance. And once you do, your world is saved as well as you. Some of the work here will be challenging, and it will take place in your thoughts, which will use this information to expand your consciousness. In our live conversations, we have always said where your true power is held. We will leave the attachment of the messages, and if you spend an hour or so in contemplation, you will feel a sense of renewal that we will reinforce continually. Imagine if everyone did what you were about to do. We will tell them when you're done. All will be fine. And then it moves to a channeling session that was going to be held, and it was held on January the 8th of 2022. And when you listen to it, because I will leave it here, it will help you so much. And then what I will also do is leave this link, because it gives you these messages that will be helpful as well in you understanding your unique journey, why you're on this earth. And as I am saying, you have a divine plan. I know what it is, and you will hear it all in the channeling session. So I'm so excited for you to hear this one, because it explains so much more than I ever could have, because I don't remember them when they come through. but now you will, and you will understand how perfect your timing was to be alive now, because you've got something wonderful that's about to be birthed. That's really what it is. Thank you for being here. Please subscribe to the channel if it's your first time. Love you guys so much, and have a wonderful Sunday or whenever you might see this. See you soon. Hello there, everyone. Welcome. And we will get started in just a few minutes. You're going to love today. They've been, my guides have been working overtime for this one. So you're going to be very pleased with today's message. And I think they're going to live up to what they said this morning in the written message, which was, you will know your importance. You will come to know your importance today. So what we're going to do is just take a few breaths to get into the room. I've been doing that a little bit already. So we're just need to be centered, because everyone will really need to hear this. And so you'll need to be really present and in the room, and even those who will be listening to this later in the replay, which I'm sure there will be plenty of that. So big breath, big from your stomach, pull it up. Hold it. And as you release slowly, sink into your body a bit more. You're becoming present. One more. This time you'll release your shoulders. Big breath. Let it go. Slowly. All the way down to your feet. Now you're grounded more. Another breath. Slowly let it go. We are ready to begin. We are so pleased that you're here, and we're so excited for today, because now you really will understand why we have been saying those words to you each time you show up. And for those of you who are here the first time or hearing us for the first time, it will be even more impactful for you, because you'll wonder, how did this happen? We went to extraordinary lengths today to shock you out of your current moment existence, so that you open your expansion, so you open your consciousness, so you just kind of think outside of this time, because you're looking at your world and you're not understanding what's going on. Some of you have been really afraid and fearful and thinking everything's falling apart. And we said, no, that's not what's happening. The world was just waiting for you. That's why we called you here. The world was waiting for you. You had no idea how important you were. You had no idea until today, because you're going to understand it, because you're here to usher in a new world. Well, we've said that many times. Roger didn't even understand that. He didn't know what we were talking about until we woke him up this morning at 3:30 in the morning, said, get up. We want you to find this. And he listens to us now. He didn't do that before, just like sometimes you don't listen to your guides because you hear them all the time. And again, when we're speaking to you, what you're hearing is your higher self, that part of you that's connected to Source, Gaia, the universe, whatever, God, whatever it is, whatever term you use, you each have that thread connected, and it's eternal. So that's why you can't figure out what's going on now. So when we got Roger up this morning, he only goes so far. We must tell you this. He only goes so far, and then he gets a little thing. Wait, that's too much information. I don't want to know that. You've done that, and you're feeling that now. You're moving into different dimensions of yourself, so it's uncomfortable, and you don't like the unknown, the uncertainty that's out there, but you wanted it. You wanted it. You wanted to be right here in this space listening to us, so that you would remember why you're here, because the world is waiting for you, because that's how important you are. You just didn't know that until today. No, you knew that before. You just hadn't been willing to acknowledge it. You thought it would be crazy for you to think that you were here to make some sort of a difference, that it would be something that would make it cause your world to be better. But each of you did that. There would be no other reason for you to be here at this time. The first thing we did, we must tell you this, because yesterday, our friend Stan asked, what message should we have on the screen today? And we told Roger which one to use. And Stan said, they'll probably change it. We said to Roger, no, we're not. We did that on purpose. See, because we wanted you to use the dates. You thought it was the dates of 2012. We wanted you to see that, but it was not this particular date. It was earlier in the year. We set it up, the entire thing. We set up that entire year to give you this so you would remember today, so that you would remember now why you're here. That's what we called your life operating instructions. Roger said that couldn't have happened. How could I have not known that I was receiving this information that was going to make some difference in the world? How could I not have known? And we told him, none of you know. That's why you're afraid now. You don't know how powerful you are. You don't know how important you are. But you are. And the reason you haven't known that is because of your experiences. You could not interpret the experiences that you've had in your life. You thought that they were bad, or you failed, or you did something wrong. None of that was true. You were being prepared for this time so that you could hear us, so that you could start to actualize yourselves, because then when you do that, your world starts to change. It's going to look completely different than what you see now. But we also told you it's going to take some time, which is why we told Roger before, just plan these right now for January. It's going to be a little bumpy. And you've seen that already. We started out the year that way. So when we said, we don't want you to use a different message, use that one that we gave you. And so then you thought, well, no, wouldn't it have been sequentially, see, wouldn't it have been in 2013? Wouldn't that have made more sense? And we said, that's your limitation again. You think that we couldn't figure this out beforehand, that we didn't know what was going on, and we could tell you what would be helpful for you at this time? That's why we put it there. We knew what was happening. It's all, we've done this so that you can release your restrictions of time. Linear time holds you back. We've said that many times. It holds you back because you get stuck in these places that you can't understand, and that's why it makes it so, and that's why it becomes fearful for you as well. And we're going to talk about something else, because there's much of this, and we thought it was interesting for Roger to see this. Talking about your conspiracy theories, you all have them. You all have them, but you just have to pick one that you like. You have to pick one that your soul resonates with. That's all. You all have them, because you don't like being in the unknown, so you will make up something to explain it until you can find some proof. But then when you find proof, sometimes you don't believe that either. That's just what goes on. So what we do is shock you into awareness. That's what we've done. When we kept telling Roger about, we gave you everything in 2012, the disbelief that he had, we wanted him to talk about it continuously, because we wanted you each to recognize you've done that. You don't believe yourself. And this is that imposter syndrome thing coming back again. You don't have any of that. You are here to actualize who you are. There's nobody better than you. That's why we keep saying that. You are the most powerful person you know. You just haven't been willing to, you haven't known that yet. But the reason we said we don't want you to judge yourself is because you have to remember time, the way that you use time. You planned your life. You planned your existence here to be in the world now, to go through this restructuring. And we've said that it's the biggest thing you've ever done, because you've never done anything like this. And now you understand why we got Roger up at 3:30 in the morning. You see, he said, go to the calendar. He never did this. He had some idea that when we said 2012, it was somehow related to the Maya calendar, but he didn't go back to check more. He does that a lot. He doesn't look at many things because he thinks, oh no, now I'm going to have to do this. Just like you've been holding back. See, because you get a glimpse of what you're supposed to be or who you're going to be. No, that's not me. You've each done that. We know, we've seen it. But now you're going to do something different because you're needed.
the essence of who you are. It's needed in the world because you've been loving people. You've been so caring for others. And you don't see a lot of that going on, do you? Some, not as much as you would like, because you were the ones who decided that at this time you were going to make this difference. You find it difficult to imagine that you planned this, but you did, because you're on an evolutionary journey. It's your soul's journey. Your soul had a reason that it wants you to experience physical existence so that you could add something to it. And what you were going to add to it is yourself. But you judged it. You thought you made mistakes. You thought you were weak. You thought you weren't as powerful. You thought you didn't. None of that was correct. And I will tell you why. When we told him to go and look and see what this is, and he just went on this deep dive trying to figure out, where are we leading you? And then we took him back to, we told you a while ago that we told Roger to go back and look at AD, 900 AD or in before that. And now he started to see that a little bit more. However, this morning, what he's found was a baptism. What? What is that? What's a baptism? It's a 400-year period that started in 2012. Yeah, that's why we did it, because you were meant to bring in this new world. And you must understand the reason that your world looks the way that it does now, because this is a huge change. You haven't done this. None of you have. This is why we said you're fighting against things that you don't even understand, because you've not been here. You don't have that memory. You don't have that memory. So that's why we're here. We're here to give you, to help stimulate your memory. And what we do is we do it through Roger first so that he can talk to you. And then you hear it through your higher self. That's what happens. So he didn't even understand his legacy, just like you don't. You don't know all of it. So we said, oh, you think you were accidental? Where were you born? What were you born into? He was born into the religion of Christian Science. And so, oh, yeah. And he's made little connections here and there, because we've said to him that you've come in this time to bring together science and spirituality and human development potential. That's what you're doing. And so we said, go back and look at that. How could you have ended up in a family of Christian Science? That didn't even make sense to you. So we had, go back and look at the founder of Christian Science, Mary Baker Eddy. And then he started seeing all the similarities in their lives. We're giving you this because we want you to understand what you each are capable of. As he looked at the similarities, Mary Baker Eddy had so many problems, difficulties, challenges, illnesses throughout her entire life, until she founded Christian Science. She was given something like we gave Roger your life operating instructions. He says, no, that couldn't be. Okay, you're going to deny it again, just like everyone else does. You deny your worth in this world. Okay, so we said, go and look at why you came to California in 1982. How did that happen? And then you meet some people who are doing a Ouija board, channeling spirits. How did that happen? Why were you there? And then in 1986, you found yourself in a place where someone else channeled some information they brought through, Helen Schuckman, and gave you a Course in Miracles. And when you studied it, didn't you see how it came back to you very easily? You knew what it meant. It was that ancient memory that we've mentioned before. But for each of you here, you are here and listening to us because it's going to spark your memory, because you're here to do something really great. You have no memory of this now, no conscious memory, but there's no way that your soul would have had you on the planet during this time unless you were meant to contribute something that was going to be valuable and meaningful and take you to the place that you wanted to go in your life. However, it's been challenging. Imagine 400 years. And this period that you've moved into, it's going to be here for several more. It's like, this is a 400-year period. However, beyond that, the particular shift goes on for thousands of years. There are times that you can't even imagine that your world has existed. You have no concept of that, which is why we've broken it down into these little places in this lifetime that you can identify, that you can understand. And so when you see your world now, when you're looking at it, everyone's trying to find their truth. Everyone's finding their truth and they're yelling about it and fighting for it and all of that. You have to find yours. And yours is connected to your soul. That's why we're talking about it. And it's an internal, intuitive, innate feeling that you have. You know what's right for you. You know what you believe and you know what you're here to do. Now, none of you are here to do the same thing. However, you did have one agreement that you were going to help your world evolve. And the way that you accomplish that is by understanding who you are, accepting, loving who you are, and putting that into the world, because you are always working back to oneness. Always. Then to make matters even better, we had something else happen. We had someone in our program send Roger a video of Terrence McKenna this morning. And they said, oh, we think that this might be, we're sending this to you because we think this might be something that would be about the talk today. It was, because we wanted to talk about time. And Terrence McKenna talking about expansiveness and using your psychedelics to move out of your consciousness so that you can see more. We had Roger do that many, many years ago, but we said, no, that you've done it now. You've seen that. You have to do something different. You each have to accept who you are and what you're here to do, and you're here to do something. It's not going to be the same as Roger's, as we told you. However, your role is important. Your role is important. We can't say that enough. This is why Roger's so passionate about the work that he's doing, because he's seen all the other stuff. Again, you each have life paths that you have set up. And when you look at them, they'll start to make sense to you. In our program, we've had people in our program 4 weeks to your best life. You could not understand how you changed so quickly. You all said that. You said, what's going on? How is this happening? Well, you've taken the work that we gave you in 2012 and that Roger's been working with forever. So you took probably 50 years of his life and you condensed it into 4 weeks. That's what you did. And he got a little upset with that, though, at times, because he would look at it and he goes, how are they accomplishing all of this? It took me so long. It took me so long. Many of you have done that. You will find that all the stuff you've judged about yourself, that you start understanding, because you're moving, you're going to understand more of this. As your world keeps moving, you will evolve more. You're going to be moved into accepting more of yourself. And as you do that, you're going to find these wonderful parts of yourself that you've ignored. In the program, you see what we've done. In the very beginning, we had you do things that Roger wasn't willing to do his entire life. Look at stuff, acknowledge, be there. What is it? But he had to do that, you see, because that's why he can do this now. But in that program, what we did in the beginning, he didn't know why we were doing it in the way that we did until after he saw the results. But what we wanted you to do first is get rid of all your judgments. We wanted you to look at how you've been beating yourselves up, how you've been holding yourselves back, how you didn't understand your experiences. We tell you, we look at your past. We don't tell you to hide from it, but we want you to examine it in a new way. We want you to extract the information, the wisdom that you've gained from everything that you've done. The problem is you have judgment, and your judgment is of good and bad, right and wrong. And you don't know that. You can't even judge the condition of your world right now, because most of you will look at it and think that it's bad. We look at it and think that it's good. And you think that's crazy. No, we know it's good because you have to change everything. You can't evolve if you don't change. But then when you're doing a big global shift, as we've told you, something none of you have experienced ever, it's scary. That's why we told you. And you panic. That's why we did that. That's why we did that. That's why we created that. We knew you were afraid. You're not going to be. We're going to keep giving you information that reminds you of who you are, because you were such powerful people. And then when you come together and you know that, you can feel the energy, the synergy that creates with that energy. Everything is energy. As we've told you, what you are seeing in your world is a fight for power. That's what it is. You're fighting for power in one way. And you use different things to do that. You've used your religions forever. And that's one of the conflicts that we've told you you're going to have to solve. because you'll say, okay, I go to church and I believe in God and all people are equal. And then you come out and then you say, no, but you're not. See? Oh, you're less than me. That's what you've done. And you've done that in countries, in societies, and you've done it forever because it's just part of how humanity has always existed. However, when you look at the world, we've done this before, when you look at your world, you can see that things are quite different than they were 500 years ago, but you don't have any reference for that. And so you have to think, how did that occur? It occurred because you came together as humans, you interacted, things happened, and then you figured out stuff. That's what it is. You came together and you figured out stuff. We want to talk about everything that we gave you in 2012. Your life operating instructions was about your physical body. And we wanted you to understand that you only use your physical body to figure out who you are and what your soul mission is. That's all. Roger had everything possibly wrong with him, just like Mary Baker Eddy throughout most of his life, until a few weeks ago, because we did that on purpose too. We wanted to make it dramatic. The last thing was having him go to a doctor and have those results so we could have proof. And it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to him either. And that's why he didn't talk about it. He never talks about it. But he will now, because he's more stable. He's more settled into it. He's more accepting, which you will be. Everything we gave you in your life operating instructions is a philosophy that you are to adapt, that you could use, where you could move through your life and navigate it in ways that you wouldn't freak yourselves out. That's all. That you would understand. You're having memories coming up now. Some of you, we wanted to say this because some of you had some weird things happening. Physical things moving in your body, we understand, because that's again the expansiveness, your spirit trying to expand. So that would be going on. But then other things are happening. Some of you are just hearing music, soft, lovely music playing from nowhere, right? We know. These are just little instances of your higher self pushing you a bit. Say, see, there's another dimension. There's more you can do. There's still more. But the belief has to be there. As we've said, all of our talks have been about moving you beyond your fear and doubt, because we know you've been carrying that. Roger gave his whole life to be here now, to move through all of that so that he could show you what is possible. And he knows that he didn't do it. He received the information. We want you to understand this. You each have higher selves that are directing you. Sometimes you listen, sometimes you don't. And the results in your life always show up to tell you what you're doing. Roger didn't listen to us forever. He had every kind of disaster you could possibly see. We told him many years ago that if he were to just move in the direction of what he feels called to do, that he would have plenty of money. Oh, he couldn't do that. Let me go through some disasters. Let's have some failures. Let's have all of that. We're saying that because each of you have done that to a certain degree, but it's okay, because now you understand that you did that so you could come to know who you are, so that you could actualize in this moment, because it's when you were needed in your world to help usher in the new world, which you will do. And you are the spirits that we wanted to do this. You are the ones. And some of you have felt that you've not wanted to admit it. There's a thing that you go through in your human development where you can't accept certain things about yourself. You don't believe that you could be the one who is given something that's valuable, and you are. So we're going to turn that around when you understand that there's no one who was ever born who wasn't given something. Now you have to look at yourself and go, what am I doing? What am I holding back? Why am I not finding it? Why am I not putting it out there in the world? You will now, because it's a different time. Many of you have felt this renewed sense of who you are, this feeling that you haven't known before, that feels somewhat uncomfortable and at the same time oddly familiar. That's where you're going. As you look at the divisions, you have to decide who you are. Now, this is the challenge for each of you. It's individual. None of you are meant to have the same ideas or beliefs or any of that. You do have to figure out what your soul wanted you to do. See, because we know that if you get in touch with that, you will do something that's going to cause your world to evolve and not implode, as we've said, which is what it's currently doing. But it'll be okay. And part of the reason for us coming through in this way is because we frankly, we thought we had done enough of Roger holding back and believing in what he has because it's not serving him or you. And so now we're putting it out there. And then also, we need each of you to make more money. We need you to make more money because you've had really weird stuff going on about that. But now is the time in your trajectory that you meant to have this abundance come in because you're these loving, benevolent people. And when you do that, you can put that into the world and you're going to cause so much more to come about. And we've said that. We said we gave you information. Roger knew this, but he couldn't implement it. He had his fear and doubt. That's why we talk about it so much. So we told him many years ago about money energy, the energy of money. Everything is energy. And so when you are operating in a state of alignment with your soul's purpose, you're going to be abundant. There's just no way. But most times you don't get there right away because you've set up certain obstacles and barriers in your life, which were purposeful because you wanted to move over them. And when you move over them, you start to discover, you release a little bit more of your power. And that's what you've done. That's what you've done in this lifetime. We know it. You would not be here if that were not true. But now we want you to appreciate it. See, we want you to understand that this is what we did in the program. Many of you will have that. And we would love for you to talk to others about it because we want them to know. We have this idea. We've implanted it in Roger. He would never say it. But we said, just think. If more people become empowered, if they become loving of themselves, they have to extend that to other people. Can you imagine how that would change your world? And it only requires you to get out of your way and stop judging yourself and own who you are and why you're here. Some of you have had really difficult times, especially the last 2 years. But you have forgotten all the stuff you did before. All that. And it's going to start coming up now for you because you were meant to actualize now. Each of you, in some way. We know that. This baptism that we're in, this particular thing, it started in 2012. So as we said, we told Roger you wouldn't have remembered any of this because you were the channel. You were just to receive the information. You still had to work it. You still had to do it, which is what he's found. And he beats himself up a little bit because as he's working on the program that we're giving you, he looks at it and goes, why did I do this? Why did I remember? Why did I know? You each do that. It's okay. But you're going to leave something for everyone else. You're going to leave a legacy for everyone else. We've told you, we've set this up. Roger knows that he's not worried now because he's gotten this all in place and he knows it's going to carry on. He can have a big picture view of what he is here in the world to do now. He can see it all now because he's accepting of it. And he knows that if he does his job, he can see a world that's going to manifest in many, many years. That's going to be the one that he's going to like. And all of his friends and family and kids or grandkids or whoever will be there. They will live there and it will be a beautiful place. And the more of you who think that way, guess what? It has to manifest. But it can't happen until you start believing who you are. And still you start recognizing how wonderful you are. And you never made any mistakes. This is why we keep saying this. Why do you think we had you go over the failure thing? We want you to get that out of your heads. We keep going over it. And we want to tell you about the program. Roger just listens to us now. He didn't do this before. And we had to get him out of the way. He said, you've got to be this example. So you've got to go and do this now. And then as he's putting things together, he goes, well, what do I do? Which ones do I put there? You know, like you do sometimes. But we said, calm down, just do this, just go, just listen. And so he put them in there. And then he was shocked. This is why he had the reaction. We want to tell you, because some of you know this, the very first beginning, when he started seeing what you were creating, what you were doing in this work, he goes, how did that happen? Because he is disconnected from even putting it together because we were just guiding it, just like we guided it in 2012. You each have done that. Your higher selves, your souls have implanted within you when you were born. The reason you were here before you were born, That's why you're here, implanted in you the seeds for greatness. And you have to cultivate them now. You've been working on this for a long time, and now is the time. And we're so pleased. This is why we told you, we're so happy to hear. We've waited for you your entire lives. And it's exciting now. And we know that some of you are really afraid and scared. No, you're going to see in a relatively short period of time in human years, basically, this shift starting to happen. It's changing, but it's in place, you see. This is why we've told you over years, practice patience and persistence. The persistence was the important part because you needed to carry this out. None of you have ever done anything wrong. And you're going to start understanding that now. You gained experience. But now your obligation, the role that you accepted was to have your experiences, understand them, take the wisdom that you've gained from them, because we know you've done it. Take the wisdom that you've gained from that and then help someone else, give it back to the world. Do that. And the one thing that each of you do, and we want to talk about this, the things that you don't want to share are the things that you've moved through that were terrible. Why wouldn't you do that? Why would you tell people, this really was horrible and happened to me, but look, this is what came out of it. You feel that energy difference? It's a very different energy. You think something horrible happened to me. No, I moved through this. Now I can demonstrate. I can be an example of something. That's wonderful. Even now, Roger's, the Pollyanna comments that we gave to him many years ago, which he didn't want to talk about, will make sense to all of you because each of you have had that element and you've judged it. I'm too nice. Oh, I give away too much. Oh, I've been taken advantage of. Oh, that's a big one. Many of you have been taken advantage of, and you just say, how did this happen? How did I give this away? Why did that happen? It's because the nature of your being is this benevolent person. You're a giving person. They didn't take advantage of you. They were just awakening you to the nature of your being. All the physical stuff doesn't matter anyway. Whatever they took from you that was of the physical nature, what does that mean? You don't take that with you. That doesn't stay with you. You're having a physical life experience. And we want to keep saying that because some of you are afraid of your deaths and all of that, but you don't go anywhere. You just transition into a better version of yourselves. And that's what you're here now doing to make that easier. We led him back to something else this morning, which was in Hinduism. And he didn't know where that came from. But again, we wanted him, he's always had this relation with this. And some people accuse him of being Buddhist. We just say, it's all the same. You're all going to the same place. You just have different iterations of figuring that out. But the thing that we wanted him to see was the term dharma. Because see, some of you believe that you are operating under karma. We don't really use that because you use that to beat yourselves up. Like you've done these horrible things that you have to atone for. You have not. You agreed to do certain things. That's dharma. You agreed. And so now it's you're living up to that agreement that you made. The reason we gave you Roger's dream that he shoved away, he tried to hide because we keep doing that to expose him so that you each own yourselves and understand what you've been doing. The dream that he put away in 2005 where he was meant to be a leader says, no, that couldn't possibly be me, right? So let me put it away. And if I just hide it there, nobody will see it. You each have done that. You see, you each have done that, but now it's time for that to come out. And we're so happy that you're willing to do it. Now, you might not be jumping up and down and going there right away, but we're going to keep working with you. We're breaking you down. We broke Roger down this morning. That's why we had to get him up so early. Many of you might have had that too. You might be experiencing things like when you're waking up at very, very, very odd hours. That is because your higher self is trying to communicate with you. Because typically when you're in your everyday physical busy lives, you don't hear anything. And so there has to be a time, an opening. If you do meditation, you'll hear it look more. If you give yourselves time to do meditation, you'll hear it. In our program, the reason that we emphasize you taking this time to every day to work on it. Think of it as a meditation. Think of it as being with yourself, because not enough of you have given yourselves the love and the time and the concentration. In the group last week, someone said, and we want each of you to hear this because you are not these people. Someone said, "Oh, shouldn't be so selfish." No, you're not. You're not being selfish at all. We want you to be selfish, because see, when you're selfish, you'll start taking care of yourself, and then you'll do more because we know who you are. And so, for you to be sustained, this is why we want you to make more money. When you're sustained, you can help more. And let's talk about the money thing. We're going to go back because many of you have seen in the program where we have you figuring out your value. The reason we did that is because Roger couldn't find his, which was purposeful because we wanted him to be here now. But then when we put out the program, he put out at this tuition rate. And then we said, oh, he's going to change it. He didn't change it. It kept going for a little bit. We said, no, that's not going to happen anymore. You have to change it. This holding back on your worth is no more. That's still incredibly inexpensive in your terms of what you might pay for things. It doesn't matter. Our mission is to help get this to as many people, but we can't do that unless Roger is sustained as well. He's done this entire life. Some of you have done that. We could give you stories, and we said we never want any of you to feel horrible about this one. He's given up so much for everyone else. He's always put them first, and now it's shifting. We need him to put himself first so he can be available for more, and we need you to begin doing that as well. We're saying that because we like the army, you see. We like more of you to come together as empowered beings, because then you can shift your world. Everything that you're seeing, all the yelling and screaming, all that stuff is not as powerful as your loving thoughts. That's the only thing that remains. Again, we want to explain there are very various concepts that you each have adapted, and they work. If they work, great. We have different ones, and we want you each to own what yours are. We do not use terms as good and evil. Because we don't see that. We see there's an absence of light. That's all that's going on. And so when you start to bring up your light, when you start to own yourselves, and that goes to everyone else. Everyone is not on the planet at this time to access their light. They're living a different life purpose, a part of their journey right now, but they're being there as contrast for you to bring up your light. That's what you're seeing. And so when you look at conflict and you look at chaos in your world, you're supposed to say, okay, why am I here? What am I supposed to do? What can I do that's going to make a difference, that's going to help? And it's always going to be, I want you to hear this, it's always going to be you moving into more of yourself. The physical acts that you might take don't matter. That's up to you. You will pick whatever physical acts that you will do to cause something to happen in your life. However, what you will know is how you feel. This is why we gave you the message the other day about when you are happy and joyous, you have found yourself. And that's where you're going to. It takes time. That's why you planned a life. You planned a life because you knew there were going to be times where you go through things and figure stuff out and move. That's what happens. You're always going to evolve. And that's all that's going on at this time. It's been the thing that you've used let's go back to this. Part of Roger's upset as well is because he is hearing things now in your world that we told him. We've told you all in several of our messages. Months ago, we told you certain things could happen in your world, and now you're seeing them. And he was upset. He thought, well, if I had done more, maybe it wouldn't have been that. It's okay. It's perfect now. It's perfect now. But now is when you're meant to do more. And when you're in the biggest fight that you're having right now, it's all about money. We want to tell you that because that's how you use things. Humans have used that to measure things. But the particular form that is taking now is in your vaccine. and your virus. You've had them forever, as we've said. And you use them to come together, not to separate. But this is different because, again, this is a 400-year shift, you see. We kept telling you about how more than 100 years ago, when you had that pandemic, that you moved through it, but you still prolonged it. You're doing it now even more because this is a bigger shift, bigger. And so what you each have to do is figure out, how can I heal this? How can I end this? But here's the catch. It's not just about ending it for you. You see, because your world doesn't survive like that. It's about ending it for more. And you will figure out a way that you can do that. We gave Roger several options that he might publish at some point to do that, because you each have to figure it out. If you have the solution, if you know the solution, you must be able to offer it to your world in a way that they can receive it, that they can accept it, that they can understand it. We told you before that you use your body for different various ways. Roger had many illnesses throughout his life, many diseases, all of those, took many medicines. We told him he was here to do that, to work through all that, see what happens. And then he used the power of his mind to accelerate his healing. And the doctors couldn't even understand it. His doctor, the last time, goes, "How did you do that?" You each have that ability, which is why we're speaking on it. And you each are going to be wonderful examples for everyone that comes behind, everyone that comes after. That's what you're doing now. And you have to, in this moment, if you can picture your new world, your life, your new world, you'll start to manifest it. But most times you're looking at what's going on, and so you can't see it. Whatever is existing began to manifest in human terms years ago. It doesn't just show up now. We're showing you how this particular shift in your world hasn't happened in 400 years or more. There's more than that. We had a wonderful a visual for this, because sometimes you need visuals so you can kind of get a better sense of what's happening. But think about your planet being over here, your world, your universe, whatever you want to call it. It's over here. Now it's shifted, and now it's moving, and now it's over here. Well, where am I? You're in a different dimension. And you're having glimpses of that. You don't go there at once. You have glimpses. We've given Roger many of them. We've talked about them, where he will see himself moving from one place to the other and seeing himself in a completely different environment. You're doing that in increments. Each of you have done that. That's why it seems things feel a little unnerving and unsettled for you at times. But we're saying you're moving in the right direction. You always are, when you understand. And the reason we're talking about all this is we want you to understand that you will receive your guidance, your information from other sources that only allow you to hear your higher self. Just before this morning, right, we gave Roger so much information, he didn't know if it was what we were going to do, but then we had him listen to another video from Archangel Michael, because that's the alignment that he has. And that confirmed what we had just said. Here, how do you explain that? Right at that time, he heard exactly what we had said. So then it confirms it, which is what's going on for you. You each are going to start seeing things that are going to resonate in a different way. You're going to have memories. Many of you are doing that already. You're having memories that you thought you would put away. No, now they're here to be manifested. That's all. And you have to understand your journey is individual. It's unique. It's different. No one else is going to have it. And it's sacred. Each of you, there's no one that has a better journey than yours. You just haven't understood it, and you haven't owned it, but now you will. There's no way you can hear what we're saying without it seeping in, and then eventually it starts to come back together. But you know how that works because you went to church forever. How well did you do with that? And we want to talk about something else. You make up divisions as humans, and one of them, we keep speaking of, I keep leading Roger back to, ideas of the Christ-like spirit, Jesus and all of that. But he knew that there was more because see, he was connected to spirits before Jesus. Jesus was a man like you were, are a person who came in at a particular time to usher in a new world, to bring in a new way of being and thinking, and all that. Each of you are doing that. The work that we gave you is a continuation of all of that. It's a philosophy, just like all the others, and all of them are valid because they all take you to the same place. You just have to find the one that feels right for you, because the one that feels right for you is aligned to your evolutionary journey. And all of them, all of your journeys are wonderful. You may have labeled them. You may have thought they were terrible, challenging, difficult, all of that. They might have been. But once you reinterpret them, and we proved that already, we've proven that. We took people through and they saw that already, that things changed. And they're still in process, they know that. But let's speak about that. When we did the program, when we had Roger put the program in, and he finished on the last day, he said, oh, wow, what have I done? What has happened now? Because he could see that each of you had moved to a new place. And then he said, oh, but I don't have anything really in place. So we said, plan some talks just between now and then. Just let's keep working with them, because we want each of you to maintain the momentum. You felt it. You felt that you're on this momentum, and we need that to stay there because we'll continue on. The more of you who come together and own yourselves and forget that imposter syndrome thing. We're going to keep talking about that one because that's the most ridiculous thing ever. But a lot of you have bought that you are not as powerful as that person. That person has it. This is what happened. Again, we want to go back to this morning with Terrence McKenna. Roger has not listened to a lot of people. It just seems odd, but and we reminded him of this morning. Mary Baker Eddy, as he was reading some of her history, she was accused of plagiarizing and from people that she had worked with, and it never happened because you all have access to information. But sometimes, because of your lack of trust and belief in yourselves, you'll think that you've made it up. That's how you grew this idea of an imposter syndrome. No, you each have access to all information, which is why in 2012, when we began with your life operating instructions, we began with infinite intelligence, you see, because we wanted you each to know you have it. You have access to it. No one has more than you. You've just accepted certain things because of the path that you are on right now. Now, back to the Dharma and Karma. Let's talk about that a bit, because yes, there are things that you have carried in your lives, in your that you have seen as burdens and challenges and all of that. And so moving through them is difficult. However, you must understand when you move through them, you did that for more than just yourself. You are connected to so far more than just this individual life. So you move through something horrible, something difficult, something challenging that was brought, that you agreed to because it was part of your soul connection, and your family, your ancestors, whoever had those things. But now you decide, I'm going to be different. I'm going to be more. I'm going to move out of that. But you started from their foundation, you see. You had to. But now you're just evolving. And we know some of you have been really afraid recently. Trust us. If you stay into the power of who you are, remembering, we're going to keep reminding you. We told Roger a long time ago, many of you, we're going to bring some of these messages back because they were quite fun. One we gave him, you have a selective memory. You see people say, you forget everything. Yeah, he did that. We did that for him intentionally. See, because you can't hold on to so much. You hold on to certain ideas and all of that. So he only holds on to the essential ones. If it's about a client, he can remember everything. If it's about his life last week, he doesn't know. There's only so much capacity any of you have. However, it's never wrong. It's endemic. It's perfect for your life experience. And again, we planned these talks. We knew what this was going to look like. And you see the panic? We knew you were panicking. We're not going to. We're going to remember why we're here. We're going to remember what you came to achieve. And what you came to achieve was to actualize yourself. You wanted to love yourself. We told you the whole the journey was moving through your doubt and fear. Many of you know in our program, in the very beginning, you had to look at a lot of that. And once you looked at it, it was different. You started to move. You took the weight off, you see, because you started to reinterpret things. And we just want more to do that. The challenge you will have, and many of you have experienced it already, but you'll get there. You have people in your lives that are not on your team, do not understand what you're doing, who you are, what you don't get it at all. You set that up. You set that up so that you could own you. That's all. And you can't own you if you're going to judge them. You just have to understand that they are offering you contrast for you to choose who you are. And we told you many months ago that you would choose. You're at the place where you're going to choose. You're going to choose. And you're not choosing. We're not talking about good, bad, right, wrong, none of that. It's light. That's all. That's really clear. It's light or darkness. Your choice. And you can feel the difference when you do it. And you know it. It's going to be challenging because you see, you're going to understand this on a certain level, but you're going to be tempted to get really angry and judge others when you see the events in your world over time. That's okay. Allow yourself to experience that. Allow it to come up. Just don't act on it. Just understand what's happening. What's happening is you're angry because you're awakening to who you are. Now it's time to do something. And what you're going to do is something loving, something that's going to contribute to your world. Because we're going to help you. There's no way you could listen to us if you weren't of this ilk, if you weren't of this part, if that part wasn't ready to be ignited. And we're so happy that we're able to be here. Some of you have had, we want to say this because we really want you to get this. And it's challenging. We could line up all the stuff of Roger's life, what he's moved through, what the difficult challenges, the horrible, horrible things, and tell you today, looking at that, it's like, oh, that didn't matter. That didn't matter. Because once you understand your essence, who you are, your value, all the stuff you went through to get there doesn't matter. Because this place is so joyous. This place is so wonderful. I love myself. That's what you're going to say. The entire point of our program was to cause that to happen with each of you. Yeah, we know it was rough, it was challenging, it was a journey and all that. But now the collective, the energy that you bring is needed in the collective, which is why we pressed you so much. And we're so happy that you've taken it up. And we're oh, wow. There's some who are hearing us, and we want to speak to this. You're wondering, how did you get here? How did you start to hear this? How did that happen? What made you do it? But then you heard something that said, oh, now I understand. That's you. That's your higher self. You've always had guidance, each of you. You've always had guidance and direction, but now you're going to start hearing it. Now, it's going to be, it's going to come up much more now. Things are moving faster. Yes, it is a accelerated kind of change because it's so much of it, you see. Which is why we said that we wanted this talk to tell you, to remind you of how you can remain calm in the face of chaos. Because that's what's out there. And you see, we knew in 2012 that you would be there because we thought you might panic. But you're going to be okay. We're so pleased that you're deciding to be you. When we took Roger back to see that what we started and him on working on in 2013 was becoming you. That's what you're here for. And the way that you do that is to start to let go of your judgments, your criticism, and thinking that you did anything wrong, because you didn't. You're just here now, at this point, in this moment, to actualize and move forward. That's all. That's what you're doing. And it's, again, we want you to understand it's a process. Each time, a little bit more, a little bit more. And then you start feeling this wholeness. That's what you've always wanted. And we're so happy that we can offer you something that's tools to help you attain that place. And as we led Roger back to this morning to realize this factum that he had moved into, that this was something that happened, his confidence is so much more. Yours will be as well. You're each, there's no way that you would not be a part of this. You came in, you came to help. That's what you're doing. And your life caused you to do it. Your life experiences caused you to be that valuable now. And that's what you're beginning to understand. We would love to open up for questions now. We really want to speak to anything that you might have, any questions, any further clarifications, anything that's come up for you.
Okay. I am going to bring you all into the room. You're going to get a message saying that you are invited as an attendee. You can go ahead and accept it and ask your question. And it's coming out now.
We want to also speak to your physical body's movement. Many of you are having odd things going on. Please know that it's just this movement of your world and the energies and your resistance as well. So this is why taking a break, going for a walk, doing meditation, doing anything to just kind of relax, sink into who you are, because your spirit is moving you up so rapidly now that your body is not, your physical body is limited. So it's not keeping up as well as it could.
Yeah, actually, I would like you to speak a little more into what happens if, for example, your body seems to be routinely betraying you. You're always in pain. You're coming up with all of these sicknesses, and the doctors can't figure out what's wrong with you. What does that mean?
You accepted some part that you wanted to be the solution. You agreed to move through that part of your life so that you could be the solution to whatever that ailment is. We've said in 2012, we told you in there that all of your illnesses, dis-ease, we called it. We separated it. We wanted you to get the point. Dis-ease. Do you see? You're not separate. You're not aligned with who you are, and you're resisting it. And so your body is trying to guide you. And so it's like, here's an illness. Here's another one. Here's a problem. Rogers had all of them. That's why we told you. He's had all of them. And he became very aware that it was his resistance to moving into this next place. But again, it's hard for you to, you can't make an assessment of this at this point, because you may not have access to what you don't have the memory of what you agreed to, with your ancestors, with your soul family or whatever. You don't have memories of that. Just know that it is something that you agreed to, and then as you embody you and let go, it starts to release, it starts to move through.
Yeah, I feel you may have answered it. But I guess just to be absolutely clear, or I just for further clarity, how would you know that you are going in that direction? Like, what if you what if you've been suffering for so long and you just feel that that's your normal?
Then
How
you
do you find that direction in order to start releasing that disease?
say, okay, none of you have been punished. That is the thing that a lot of you form different ideas and beliefs about certain things. So many times you think that your difficulties, your challenges, your injuries might be punishment for something. No, this is why we said we don't use karma, because humans will make different distinctions about that. We will use dharma. So if you think of your dharma, that's something that you agreed to move through because you knew that it was going to help not only you if you did it, but also your world, humans. You knew that it was going to help your world evolve if you agreed to move through that. So sometimes you won't have a memory of that, but that is exactly what you're doing. And so just gaining the understanding of it, oh, you start to accept it. You start to feel a little bit less resistance. Your body starts to adjust. But you have to get rid of the idea, the mental idea that somehow you're being punished. No, that's why when we use the Dharma, we want you to think that you agreed to something. Nobody gave it to you. You did that so that you could expand and move and all of that. And then as you do that, it goes back into your world.
Thank you very much for that. Clarity, I saw that you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Along the same lines, I've noticed that my neuropathy is better in the morning since I've been wearing my pressure socks. So it hasn't happened magically. It's happened because I've applied what is known to help your circulation, and the blood is your life. And along those same lines, around dinner time, I start getting that tingling and those shooting pains through my body, what they call it's neuroleptic syndrome, because I've been on antidepressants for quite some time. That after I eat, I feel better. So it's my body going, hey, remember me? You need to give me sustenance. You need to feed me. I'm not a machine. So it's a matter of compassion and deep listening.
Yes.
And it's also not blaming yourself or feeling that you're a victim. It's owning what your body does and gradually coaxing it to a better state, a higher frequency, we are saying now.
Yes. We're so pleased you said frequency because that is what it is. You have guidance, each of you, and it is about how you feel. And how you feel is an energetic vibration. The higher that vibration, the more aligned you are with your real self. The more aligned you are with your real self, that eternal spiritual soul, you start to let go of your 3D, three-dimensional, 3D world physical problems. You start to leave them. And so then your bodies miraculously start to feel different. You each have heard many times of those who've passed beyond, and then they will speak to those of you who are still here, and they say, oh, wow, I feel so much better now. I'm free. I was sick before. I had all these other things. That's real. Then that's exactly what occurs, because you drop your physical body, your restrictions. You just drop it, and he's like, wow. If more of you could do weightlessness, if you could take space, you'll be doing that soon, though. You will understand the feeling of that free flying experience.
The other thing that I'd like to share with everyone who follows us, follows along with us, is that when we are feeling anxiety, pain, or disturbance inside, we're not at peace, we can do one of two things: regulate our breathing, or sing, tone, hum, get our body into vibration, and it will change almost instantly.
Thank you. You have given us various modalities, and what we want to speak on that is that each one of you will find what works for you. There's not one way that you're going to accomplish something. And anything that you use outside of your mind is just a prop. It's just a tool. It's just something else that you use. If you put on, you spoke of the socks or things that you might wear on your bodies or braces or all of that. It's just that you think you need support, you need help, and that's okay. Because as you're using those things, your mind, your soul is saying, okay, you're at least making the effort to go in that direction. And then you get to the place where you figure out you don't need it. That's the ultimate, because that's what happens as you start to ascend, you see. And so that's why we told you the story about Roger with all the illnesses, all the diseases, all the things, to get to a place where at 71, we're like, oh, wow, this is better stuff. Because you start to incorporate, you integrate dimensions of who you are in this physical world. And that's what you're doing now. This is just different because it's a little challenging. But we want you to understand, each of you, you did that on purpose. And this is why we keep wanting you to understand the enormity of the task that you took on. You should be proud of yourselves.
Also, speaking of the virus as a teacher, I follow someone who lives in Vancouver, BC, and she's been, sheltering in place for almost the last 2 years. And early on, November of 2019, before we quote unquote were being exposed to the coronavirus, she had a chest issue, and she was so anxious to get out of ER, she didn't have chest x-rays made. And just recently she had an embolism, and she realizes now she has long COVID. So our inability to take action when our bodies are speaking to us is also an act of love and patience.
Yes. When you allow, we want you all to think about this in an entirely new way. You didn't make any mistakes. Not taking care of yourself is not a mistake. We want to reverse that. See, it was learning. It was education. Because then you say, okay, I didn't do that. Now I know something. So I can make a new choice now. I can start to make changes. I can embody who I am. I can do something that's going to cause it to be different. But if we start to believe that we screwed up, and this is why we're having this horrible thing, we're not understanding the integrity of our life experience, you see, because sometimes those things are meant to happen because you wanted to move through them. So the judgments, you can't always know this, but the only thing you can know, as we've given you, which was the point of your life operating instructions, everything that is happening is for your highest good. Everything. You just find out later. You just figure it out, but everything.
Brian, I saw that you had your hand up. Oh, you're still muted. And you're still muted. Let me see if I can help you out here.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect.
Well, it's been a good week. If we're talking about pain, I wasn't really going to talk about that, but I did have the hip replacement, but I never really felt that it was pain that I deserved the pain. What I've been looking at it as a process of healing. So the replacement was because it was I was having some pain, yes, but that was due to deterioration. But instead of focusing on the pain, I'm more focusing on the process of healing, and then feeling the body becoming more regenerated and stronger, and being amazed about how my body is healing, because I'm thinking in that way that it's going to be all right. Like, this is all part of the journey. That's just what it is. In order to heal, you have to go from point A to point B to point C. And so this has been a good week. That was one thing.
We want to interject here. Your surgery did not correct your hip pain. You did that.
Okay. Well, I'll take that because I've been trying to stay in a positive frame of mind. So I'm feeling that. I'm feeling very aware that things have improved and are improving and will continue to improve. And then just a note, something came up the other day where I have family in the UK and then I have family all different places, and somehow we just got into they wanted to have a positive year. Everyone has. I said okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share a positive thought with you, and we'll just share these positive thoughts. Some of the thoughts are my own thoughts, and some of the thoughts are maybe lent from other people. And I said it doesn't have to be every day. I said every couple days, and you take it for what it is. Like it might apply to you. You think about it, and when you get to that negative place, whatever that negative place is, think about what I wrote to you today. So it's almost empowering because it's the same thought or phrase I may write, not the same one every day, but we're all concentrating on this thought.
Mhm.
So it's giving us all power, even though we're not together. And through that power, I believe that's how when you mention changing the world, that's kind of how you have to go about it. You can't think about all the negative stuff. It's there, but you focus on the positive together, and it gives you a sense of strength. So that's been working for me.
Wonderful. Now let's talk about positive.
Okay.
None of you know what that is. Just don't know, and that's been part of the problem. Because see, you look at certain things that are happening, like you look at the conditions of the world right now, and you said there's no way is that positive. Is that a positive experience? What's going on? But we're saying that it is. Because it's causing you to awaken to who you are. You see, so the classifications that humans make are you sometimes you can't really make them your measurements because you're always judging things or assessing things from a very limited perspective, what you have known, what you've experienced, which is why we went through all the links this morning to show you. Roger, he didn't know anything about what we showed him from back there to 12 and that 400 years. None of that made any sense, you see. And so you are allowing yourself to move into new portions of who you are all the time. And so some of the periods where you may be, where you feel that this is something something bad could be something positive. So that's it. However, to make your point though, which what you're doing is wonderful, which we want more of you to do, because it is valuable for you to hold what you feel for you right at this moment, in this place in your life. What you feel for you is positive. Please keep repeating it. Keep putting it in your mind, because now you're using your mind, the brain of your mind, in the way that which it was intended to focus you into your higher self, to focus you into who you were meant to be. So yes, the more often that you're holding on to what for you feels to be positive at this time, please keep doing that, because it just pumps you up. You become more empowered all the time.
But I do get what you're saying, though, as you just said it, that the negative, or what we consider to be negative or a rough time, could in fact be a way of changing you into a different direction that could open up a door that you didn't know that was there.
Yeah,
So I sort of get it,
yeah, always, yeah.
looking at it that way. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Um, yeah, I guess one more question here. Um, if a person, and I feel this is coming off of that I feel that a lot of people misunderstand what light and dark really is. And here's my question. If someone feels very identified with the dark, quote unquote, and they feel judgment and they feel some shame when someone comes in with a lot of light, what would you say to that person? Yeah, what would you say, what would you suggest to that person moving forward?
Nothing. What I would do, I would show up and be the light. See, because when someone is placed in your experience who's exhibiting that behavior, you have to remember, oh, I'm the light. I'm the light. Let me bring that forth. You can't tell them what to do. They're not going to get that. They've been told forever. They've been told what to do forever. That's not it. You have to use their self-motivation, and the way that occurs is by you being there and being the light. And you will know that we've had Roger say to you many times, he will not join you in your misery. He just won't do it because he doesn't see it. He can't see it. And so you have to remember that when you're working with someone, it's challenging, we know, but when you're working with someone and you feel that energy that they're with, it's just a call for you to be lighter. It's a call for you to come up more. That's all.
Perfect. Received. Thank you. One last request. If anyone has any questions or comments, if you'd like, you can put it in the chat and I will read them on your behalf. And, oh, Brian, do you have one more thing to say?
Mute.
There you go.
It's just exactly what Roger just said. Long story short, I'm around some people, but not so much now, because they tend to be, I don't want to use the word, but negative, or they can't see beyond something. And so what I've decided is I don't want to be invited to that party. I'm just going to keep on my path of doing what I do, and I'm going to decline that invitation. But I'm always will be available if they can see what I'm doing, that will enable me to continue on my journey, wherever that journey is going to lead me. But I don't need people around me that sort of like that, Debbie Downer expression, or making me feel fearful about doing something when I really didn't feel fearful until I spoke to them. So therefore I can't have that conversation with them. So I'm choosing very carefully with whom I discuss certain things with, so that I'm not dragged into this place of negativity.
Perfect. You each have given us so much, and we thank you for that. You are here to fulfill your evolutionary journey, and you must do the things that cause you to feel the best. So if not being around those people, not being in their presence causes your energy to stay high, then do that. Now, there are others of you who will do things. Now, Roger did something different, but you're not, again, he did this because he knew, when he is remembering, that he meant to be here so he could help more people. And so he allowed himself to move through really challenging relationships and all of that. He did all of that because he wanted to know. But none of you don't have to do that. You have to do what is right for you. And that is what is right for you is going to resonate, because you'll feel it. When you made that choice, you felt better in your soul because of that. And that was the right thing. And each of you have that measurement, that ability to know if the choices that you're making, the ones that are resonating with your soul. So that's brilliant. However, some of you have been in relationships that have been really challenging, or been around people that have been really horrible. And you might have done that intentionally because you want to get over it. You see, that could be. But each of you will make that decision because it's all about your evolution. Thank you. That we're so glad that we give you all the different perspectives, because sometimes you try to fit yourself into everybody's box and do things exactly as the others, and no, you have to do what's right for you. So thank you.
Okay, Clarity, close us out.
I would like to paraphrase what Brian just said a little bit, if I may. What the universe has been telling me when I've asked for understanding, and then I say, show me more. There's no words. There's no commands. It's just put in front of me. And when I'm gobsmacked and just amazed by the beauty of the universe, it's just that. It's being shown what is here for me. I don't have to wander around looking for a guru to tell me some secret, and I'll magically become me, or the me I imagine I might be. And so we achieve that by being alone. And if you Google being alone or is a gift. Being alone is a gift, because it allows us to really get to know our connection to the one, which is our hearts.
You each are here to do that. The entire point of all the work that we have given you, as we said, it's a philosophy, but our only intention was one thing, to allow each of you to understand who you are and come to love yourselves. That's all.
Mm.
That was it. We have thoroughly enjoyed this day, and there will be more. We will keep giving you a little indication of what the topic might be beforehand, but we would love for each of you to invite more people. We would love to have more who show up, because the more energy, synergy that you create, the better for your evolution and that of your world. So, but again, we are so appreciative of you being here and for your commitment to being you. Thank you so much. And we are complete. Okay.
Oh, the old gravedigger's back.
Oh, wow. What time? Is that,
No, we didn't talk about Horace. You're okay.
is that 10, 20?
Yeah, I think straight up. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
wow.
80 minutes.
Oh, we went over.
Oh, I had no idea it was that long. I had 0. Okay. I knew there was a lot.
Like a light. I was out like a light.
Yeah.
Like a light.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much. Now I've got, wow. Phew.
Thank you, Roger.
To hear this one. Thank you.
See you guys.
All right, you guys. I will see you soon. Thank you.
Tomorrow.
Yes.